everyone, welcome to my Wandavision episode 6 breakdown. If you've not seen the episode, go check that out first and then come back here. Also, if you've not seen them already, I've done breakdowns of episodes 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 and now on my channel. So this week's episode was completely crazy. It started with the Malcolm in the Middle style intro with really obvious call outs like "don't question what you've done" in the lyrics. Interestingly, in the credits, it calls Vision the Vision, which is possibly because Wanda's been reminded that he's actually a synthezoid and not a human. We see Agnes in the fridge with those stylish, naughty tracksuit bottoms. This is just baiting us into thinking that she's the bad guy in this. Part of me wonders if she's in the fridge because she's tampering with the food in some way. And I only really thought of this because in the first episode, obviously she's involved with the food, which then chokes Mrs. Hart. And also for that commercial for Your Magic, it just makes me think that something to do with food is happening here. Agnes also doesn't have her full name on the titles, while she's keeping a really close grip on Tommy and Billy. Pietro's title actually says Pietro Maximoff as himself. Nobody else gets that clarification. So it makes me wonder if there's going to be some kind of I am Lord Voldemort style switch around and this is going to spell Mephisto. I already love Billy and Tommy. They've got real Zack and Cody vibes. Billy is scared to wake up Pietro, but he doesn't know why. And I think this could be the first signs of his empathic or telepathic powers, which then manifest themselves later in the episode. Pietro then does a fake psycho-style stabbing of Billy and Tommy, which linked to him saying that he wanted to squeeze Wanda to death. It's starting to feel like a bit of a morbid motif. Pietro definitely has some links to death, whether this is just because he's dead or more likely because he is Mephisto or even the Grim Reaper. The flashback where Pietro and Wanda are dressed up for Halloween, it looks like they're dressed up as Natasha and Nick Fury, which is probably nothing, but I feel like it was a cool nod. Vision then comes downstairs dressed as his comic book self, or in the show, a Mexican wrestler. Vision's well aware he has no choice but to wear that outfit as there's nothing else in his wardrobe. He feels unhappily trapped and nothing seems to bring him joy anymore apart from when Wanda forces joy out of him. When Billy's explaining that Wanda and Vision have been fighting, Pietro is watching like it's important to him. Then he immediately jumps in to take Vision's place with the kids. He makes a comment about the XY chromosome, which could be a nod to the fact that all X-Men mutants have this mutant X gene. Now, I was going to make a comment about the mom tattoo on Evan's arm, but apparently that is real. But they could have chosen to cover it up, so there possibly is a reason that they chose to keep that. Now, to me, it first looked like House of M, but the reason they put this in is probably just so that loads of us who are obsessed with the show spend a lot of time Googling to see if that's a real tattoo. Pietro then gets Billy and Tommy confused, saying it was Billy's idea. It's interesting that Pietro is only interested in the one twin who has the powers that are most similar to Wanda's. And when we see the Your Magic commercial later on, it looks like Billy who's on that island because he's wearing that red t-shirt. So why is Billy so important? We then jump back to S.w.o.r.d. and we see director Hayward make the comment, "Which one of you is the sassy best friend?" Which feels almost like a race thing to me, given that there's this Hollywood trope that for years black women were only cast as the sassy best friend part. There's only one way to say it. This guy is a dick. Darcy looks at Monica for a response and Jimmy jumps in to try and defend them, but then he's also shot down. Hayward seems to have a vendetta against superheroes, which was brought on by the trauma of the last 5 years. His views are similar to that of Helmut Zemo, who we know is going to be the villain in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He feels like superheroes attract supervillains. The Dream Team then beat up all of the officers guarding them, which is completely unbelievable, but we'll go with it. Back in Westview, Wanda, Pietro, Billy and Tommy are out trick-or-treating, and Pietro shouts, "Unleash hell, demons spawn." This is the most clear and obvious call-out that we've had, that Billy and Tommy are the demon children of Mephisto. But it feels like it's almost getting too obvious at this point, although that's possibly just because we are moving into the third act of this show. Tommy says, "Kick-ass," which is a fantastic nod to the fact that Aaron Taylor-Johnson played Kick-Ass in a movie alongside Evan Peters. Herb asks if Wanda wants something changed. It almost makes it feel like he's a bit of a coordinator for the town. And we know he's slightly more involved than some of the outside characters because he seems aware of what's going on from that earlier line where he said, "We're all," and then trailed off. Now we get the most crucial part of the episode for working out who this villain might be, the commercial. The creepy shark jumps out of the water and says, "He snacked on your magic, bro." Clearly, he's trying to drain the magic out of Billy, which is what Mephisto does in the comics. The shark being a surfer dude and having that kind of accent makes me immediately think of Pietro as the prime suspect we're looking at here. The kid can't open the Your Magic pot and then wastes away in a very Tim Burton-esque fashion. The whole thing feels like a metaphor that Mephisto put this saviour in front of Wanda when she felt so empty, but she can never quite get to it, and then it drains her of her powers until she dies. At the cinema behind them, the two movies that are showing are The Incredibles, which is about a super family working together, and The Parent Trap, which is about trapping their parents back together to stop them getting a divorce. I think this suggests that Wiccan and Speed will be the real heroes of this show, bringing their parents together again to fight as a family and defend Westview. Pietro says he's there to give her grief, which is a bit of a double entendre here, because he's making her grieve for her brother, her parents, Vision, and possibly Wiccan and Speed if Mephisto takes them away too. Earlier, Pietro can't answer Wanda's question about the orphanage when they're trick-or-treating, and now he says he got shot for no reason at all. We know that Quicksilver got shot saving the lives of Hawkeye and that small child, so this isn't really her brother, this is somebody who doesn't know those little details. Agnes is the only person who gets stuck at the end of town and can still talk to Vision. I think she's faking it to point out to Vision where the boundary edge is and to coax him into leaving. She's the first and only person to say that Wanda is the female voice in people's heads, and she tells Vision that he's dead, which is the first time that he's heard that. I just don't trust her. Everyone else is wearing their comic book costumes, so it can't be a coincidence that she's dressed as a witch. Pietro and Wanda are at the town square scare, and he makes yet another reference to hell. He asks the question that we were all asking: where's she been hiding all of those kids? When someone mentions Pietro, he appears in the next episode. When someone mentions the lack of children, they appear in the next episode. It just feels like every time she gets close to being found out, the lie has to get bigger. This feels similar to The Good Place, where in season 2, Michael has to keep iterating the bad place every single time he gets caught out by changing something slight. Wanda admits again that she doesn't know how she's done this, and we know she's talking honestly this time and not trying to cover something up because she's talking to Pietro. My favourite trio then find out that Vision is actually Hayward's target, so it's interesting that we then see them try and draw Vision out. We know that whatever Darcy found on the computer was emailed to Jimmy Woo, so it wasn't lost with her when she got pulled into the Hex. We're likely to find out what this is next week. Hayward is treating Vision like a science experiment rather than trying to help him. The pieces of Vision that flake away are hexagonal, which makes me think that Vision's outer body is an illusion caused by the Hex, and only the core parts of his body remain or were rescuable from the S.w.o.r.d headquarters. This is like watching Vision dust in the same way that everyone else did 5 years ago. Billy's telepathic abilities manifest and he hears Vision in pain. Now it sounds like Billy says, "I think he's dying," but if you look at the captions, it's actually "they think he's dying." Maybe Billy phrases it this way because he already knows that Vision is dead. Pietro says, "It's not like your dead husband could die twice." Did he forget that Vision actually did die twice? I suppose this is a level of detail that the public might not necessarily know, but it's unsurprising that this then strikes a nerve with Wanda. On the movie screen above the square, we see somebody trying to break through a fence and then is frozen by Wanda in the act of doing so, which is exactly like what's happening to Vision in that moment. If anybody knows what movie this is, please let me know. Darcy gets sucked into the Hex, which we knew she would be from previous posters, but I love that the Hex changes her swear word into something less sinister. Oh fudge. This is actually another parallel to The Good Place. It's amazing to see that Wanda can actually extend the boundaries of the Hex. We've never seen her at this level of power before. Is it possible that as her grief gets stronger, her power gets stronger too, which is why Pietro/Mephisto is trying to bring out these feelings of grief in her? So far, we've seen about 3 hours worth of content, and apparently Wandavision is a 6-hour-long series, so we can expect this all to get flipped on its head in the next 3 hours. So that's my breakdown for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know if you've got any other theories or if there's anything you think is going to happen in the next couple of episodes. If you're enjoying these videos, please subscribe to my channel because it just makes me feel nice when people subscribe. Oh, this is the cutest hecking thing. Next breakdown. Oh, shit.